All right, thanks everybody. My name is Andy Kahn. I'm Director of Victim Services, Victim Advocacy for Crime Stoppers of Houston. I really appreciate everybody coming out here today. And I just want to thank everybody from the Harris County Sheriff's Office, especially Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez. We have representatives, a member of the Texas Rangers that is here with us today. We have our CEO of Crime Stoppers, our Deputy Director, our law enforcement detail, our chairperson of the board, Lindsay Ehrenstein, our staff here as well. And when I say that we've lived and breathed this case for 5 years, I really mean we've lived and breathed this case 5 years. And Bob, Rosemary, and Sergio have basically become part of our extended family as to why we're here today. It's been a long journey. And as someone who's a board member of the Parents of Murdered Children and Surviving Family Members of Homicide, and have worked with homicide survivors now for over 30 some odd years, there's nothing more than a gutting feeling when we're going on 5 years and still no arrest, no nothing in this case. But once again, we want to make this perfectly clear to the public that we are now still, it is up to a $50,000 reward. We're giving you 50,000 good reasons to come forward with that one tip of what happened 5 years ago to Liz Barraza, who was just simply setting up for a garage sale, doing what many of us here have done. And for this to happen that early in the morning, and somebody so bold and brazen in what I can only describe as a scene that you would see from a Sopranos episode, for someone to get out of the car, run up, shoot, run back. It's just absolutely indescribable, yet here we are here today. These guys here, I can't tell you enough good things about them and what they've done, what they continue to do, how they've embraced this family, and their family is our family. And with that, I'd like to introduce Sheriff Ed Gonzalez.
Thank you, Andy. Good afternoon. I'm Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, and thank you for joining us as we make yet another plea to our community to help our homicide investigators and our partners bring justice to the person who murdered Elizabeth Barraza 5 years ago today. I'm grateful to our friends here at Crime Stoppers, to Rania, the board, all members here of Crime Stoppers. We're so blessed to have such a wonderful organization here in our community that's part of our crime fighting efforts. We have the best in the nation here, and we should be very proud and grateful for them. So thank you, Rania, and the entire team. I want to acknowledge Elizabeth Barraza's parents, to Bob and Rosemary, her husband Sergio, who joined us today. We continue to join you in the mourning of Elizabeth's loss, and you have my word that we will not rest until justice is served. On Friday, January 25th, 2019, just before 7 a.m., Harris County Constable's Office Precinct 4 deputies were dispatched to shots fired at 8623 Cedar Walk Drive in North Harris County. Deputies reported that Elizabeth Liz Barraza, age 29, was found shot several times as she stood in her driveway preparing for a garage sale. She was taken to a hospital where she would die. We are seeking for the public's help in identifying the person, the monster responsible for taking Liz's life. The suspect was driving a black or dark-colored Nissan Frontier Pro 4X crew cab, a four-door truck, and parked on the street one house down from Ms. Barraza's home. The suspect exited the vehicle and approached Ms. Barraza. Seconds later, the suspect shot Ms. Barraza 4 times at close range. The suspect immediately ran back to the vehicle and fled the scene. Approximately 2 minutes later, the suspect vehicle returned and drove by the Barraza home once again. The suspect's gender was not determined and could be male or female. No motive in the murder has been identified, and it does not appear that robbery was the motive. The case has stayed active for the last 5 years, and Crime Stoppers tips continue to come in. The Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit, many of them are here today, leads the investigation and has collaborated with the Texas Rangers, with DPS, and want to commend Ranger Ellison. He's been on this hand in hand with our team from day one. Thank you so much. Also, the FBI, ATF, and other local and federal partners. Throughout the investigation, Elizabeth's family and friends and people all over the country who have followed this case since the beginning have assisted investigators. We ask everyone for their continuous support in solving this case and holding that killer accountable. Someone out there knows who killed Elizabeth that morning. We ask you to do the right thing. Please come forward and assist. You've already heard of the $50,000 reward. That's significant. But beyond that, just for the humanity and compassion of this, do the right thing. Help bring closure to this family. Help us today. But a $50,000 reward is available for the person who provides information that leads to an arrest. Please call our homicide unit at 713-274-9100 if you need to reach the investigators, or Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. That's 713-222-8477. In Spanish, hola, soy el alguacil del condado Harris, Gonzalez. Primero quiero agradecer a Crime Stoppers de Houston por organizar esta conferencia para pedir ayuda a nuestra comunidad en el caso de asesinato de Elizabeth Barraza. El viernes 25 de enero del 2019, aproximadamente a las 6:55 de la mañana, se recibió una llamada en el 8623 a la calle Cedar Walk Drive en la parte norte del condado. A su llegada, Elizabeth o Liz Barraza, de solamente 29 años, fue encontrada con varios disparos. Fue trasladada a un hospital donde lamentablemente falleció. Estamos solicitando la ayuda de nuestra comunidad para identificar al sospechoso responsable de matar a Elizabeth Barraza en sangre fría. El sospechoso manejaba una camioneta, una pickup negra o color oscuro. El sospechoso salió del vehículo y se acercó a la señora Barraza. Segundos después, el sospechoso le disparó en muy cerca a plazo. El sospechoso huyó del lugar. Aproximadamente 2 minutos después, el vehículo sospechoso regresó y volvió a pasar por la casa de Elizabeth. No se ha determinado el sexo del sospechoso o sospechosa. El caso ha permanecido activo durante estos últimos 5 años y le pedimos al público que nos apoye. Tenemos una gran colaboración con el DPS y otros agentes que nos han ayudado del primer momento y estamos muy agradecidos por eso. Y también le ofrecemos nuestras oraciones a la familia, a los padres que se encuentran aquí, al esposo, y le dejamos saber que no vamos a descansar hasta que le podamos traer justicia a esta familia. We will not rest until we bring justice to this family. I'd now like to ask Homicide Sergeant Mike Richie to come forward and discuss more about the case. Thank you all.
All right, again, as the sheriff said, I'm Sergeant Michael Richie, Harris County Sheriff's Office Homicide. I am the original lead on this case. Again, 5 years ago, we did get the call in the morning, and it was first dispatched to violent crimes. And then once it was known that she was not going to recover from her injuries, Homicide took over the case. It's difficult to believe it's been 5 years, but as the sheriff said, this is a case that has been actively worked on. It has not really ever been considered a cold case. I kept the case for close to 2 years before I promoted. Then the case was taken over by Deputy Wally Wyatt, and I worked with him while I was a patrol supervisor, helping him out with it. When I came back to Homicide, I took the case back over. And Sergeant Jeff Thomas has also been helping with the case recently. So again, at this time, we're looking at trying to discover new leads. And the way I look at it is a lot of times when you go out to a scene such as this, time is against you. At this point now that 5 years has passed, time can be more on our side with this investigation. And what I mean by that is relationships change. Loyalties change. different things happen. This shooter could possibly be in jail now. Someone that maybe feared retribution from them may no longer feel it now, that if they're in custody, if they're in prison or jail, or someone could have maybe been married or a significant other to this person, or somebody that helped plan this or that has knowledge of it that no longer is. Also, another thing that we're looking into is new technology. As we all know, with the phones and the cameras here, technology is changing rapidly every single year. So with it being 5 years from this incident, definitely technology has advanced, and we're looking into that, and we're reaching out to the Rangers and DPS and the FBI and other agencies that maybe can provide more resources. So again, the case is actively being worked, and what I have been encouraged with about this case that we can solve it is that it definitely feels like the public, Harris County, people nationwide, even worldwide, people from other countries actually send in tips or send in emails and have some type of tip to give us or what they think. One thing I would like to say is that we do follow every tip, and we would like to know, there's a lot of people that do like to call and give out, I guess, information that's already known. We would ask for those of you that if you do have significant information, that to give us significant information that we know that you're telling the truth and that you really want to help, you could give us information that maybe only the shooter would know, and not that anything that's already been that we have released to the public. I do want to thank the Nellys. Again, they've been very supportive of myself and the Sheriff's Office since day one, and many other people and families by this time, their attitude towards us could have changed, but they have supported us 100%. And again, I want to thank that. Also, with the help and cooperation of Sergio Barraza, I want to stress to everyone, the family of the parents and Sergio, they've been nothing but cooperative in this investigation. Definitely the most frustrating case that I've had as a homicide investigator. And but again, we want to see it through. We want to get this solved for Liz, for the Nellys, and just for Harris County and the citizens in general. When people look at this case, everyone can look at Liz and say, that could be my sister, that could be my daughter, that could be my wife, that could be my niece, that could be my friend. So again, she wasn't doing anything wrong, just living her life, trying to save up enough money to go on an anniversary trip, and her life was taken. So again, asking for the public to help us out, and things that I would always say to people that were reluctant to speak to us or give us information and investigation, I would always say this situation: act like it's your daughter, act like it's your wife, all right, your sister. If it was you, you would want somebody that doesn't know you to speak up and say something. So that's what the Nelly family, us as the Sheriff's Office, and all law enforcement in general is asking for: somebody to step up and help us out with this investigation. Thank you.
My name is Bob Nelly. Liz was my daughter. You've seen me here too many times, and we stand here today 5 years, and the message that we want to put out is a really, really simple one. This was a great young woman. This was a person dedicated to helping others, and some monster coward walked up in cold blood and shot her 4 times. And we have no understanding of what would rise to this level, but I want this person off the street, because I don't want any other family to go through what we've gone through. For 5 years, every night, wondering, for 5 years, following up every opportunity to speak with the media, for 5 years, cooperating with law enforcement and Crime Stoppers. It's hurtful. There's no way that we can ever recover from what's happened. The only thing we can do is be constant and consistent in our support for law enforcement. And I will let you know that they may have killed my daughter. They may have taken her from us, but they didn't stop the good that she stood for. Her friends, her family, we move forward in trying to help others. And there are thousands of people in the same position we're in. And because we have the assistance of Crime Stoppers and everything that they've done to support us, the assistance of parents of murdered children, and most importantly, we're backed up by one of the best law enforcement agencies I've ever encountered. And I never doubt that the Sheriff's Office has this case as their highest priority. So I would say to the public, we all work together to make sure that there was $50,000 in a reward. And that reward is safely tucked away here at Crime Stoppers. And all you have to do is call the tip line, follow the instructions, and I want that money to be awarded. I want that money to go to the person that gets these animals off the street. I don't want them to ever have a chance to hurt anyone else. Because my beautiful daughter could have done so many wonderful things if she was here, and she isn't. And so we're asking the public's assistance. If you know something, say something. We're ready to move on to getting this case in court and getting these people removed from a position where they can harm the public. And God bless everyone on the stage here with us. Their support is just so wonderful. And we thank you all for your continued interest and support, especially the media. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Let's get this done in 24. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better than Bob. And Bob and Rosemary have just become near and dear to my heart, near and dear to a lot of our Crime Stoppers staff. And I wish I would have met them under obviously different circumstances, but I'm proud to know them now, and they're going to be tremendous advocates. But first things first is someone out there in the public knows something, and it's now time. It's 5 years. It's now time. Someone out there step up to the plate and do the right thing. You can contact us at 713-222-TIPS, submit a tip online, www.crime-stoppers.org, submit a tip on our mobile app, and always remember, you are anonymous. We have no idea who you are. We don't want to know who you are. But I'm telling you right now, we're going to find you, and we're never going to stop looking. And when we find you, you're going to end up taking your last breath in a free world. And as you can see right here, grief is intensified, but we want justice for Liz. That's what this is about, and she deserves it. So we're asking you to give it to her. And I'd like to thank again everybody here for doing what they do and what they do best. And there's no doubt in any of our minds, this case is going to be solved. And we want it solved in 2024. So this time we'll open it up for any questions by anybody.
Yes, I would like to, Sergio, en español. Sí. ¿Cómo han sido estos 5 años para ti, Sergio?
Los pasados 5 años estaban, ni puedo explicar qué duro, qué difícil está esto por mi familia, por mí, por la familia de ella, por los papás. Bien difícil manejando por todo esto porque no sabemos por qué o entendemos. Y yo no creo que, pues, ojalá podemos encontrar, pero no sé si es posible porque está bien difícil. Yo sé que la policía está trabajando muy duro por esto, pero es difícil y yo deseo que sí encuentren a los que hicieron esto o quién fue, porque necesitamos justicia por les.
Adam?
You mentioned the number of tips that come in since we last talked. Is there anything you can say about those? Have any of them panned out? Do you feel like you're any closer to solving this crime because of those tips? Just anything you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I'll let Sergeant Richie talk about the tips he's received.
Again, the amount of tips that we received has been encouraging because it just shows that people care and that they're trying to help. I would say, unfortunately, most of the tips that we get in is information that we already know, or I remember in the beginning of in the investigation, and one thing I need to mention is about the suspect vehicle, that people would just say, hey, I saw a black Nissan Frontier at Beltway 8 and I-10. So tips like that, again, we still follow them. They get the license plates. I've kept a log, and that's what I want to reaffirm is that the suspect vehicle in this was a black Nissan Frontier Pro 4X, and it had one of those Pro 4X decals at the back near the back bed tailgate of the truck, and so that's one. I guess factual thing that we know about this case. There's a lot of things up in the air, such as that, like the sheriff mentioned, that the suspect, I still can't confirm 100% if it's male or female. But the recent tips that have come in, we've been following. Unfortunately, I mean, we would I think we would know more here, or we would have charges filed if they would have helped us so far. But right now, the tips that we have gotten in haven't really, we're looking at them, but they really haven't been a significant thing to really break open this case and give us something.
Just one brief follow-up. You mentioned technology, how technology can change a lot in 5 years. Is there any certain piece of technology you have in mind, or a type of technology that you think maybe could help in this investigation, and maybe you said the FBI or ATF or other agencies would be able to use?
Well, we're looking at, there's different things, like, for instance, our crime scene unit has different tools that they have just recently been able to come into possession of, and that they're working on. And so possibly using those. I don't want to go into too much detail, but possibly using that to kind of maybe be able to maybe view things in a better light than we could 5 years ago. Specifically, too, with how social media, different things that we can do now with social media to research that, and of course using phones and phone records, and again, there's different type of technologies and resources that we have now that we can try to use in this situation. So that's kind of what we've been doing now is trying to figure out what things are out there that can help us solve this case, or give us a good start, and maybe give us a suspect, and maybe once we have a suspect, then we can start researching that suspect and maybe find that. And I've described this kind of analogy in this situation or this case to a lot of people. And just imagine, I don't know if anybody here does puzzles or has done before. I'm sure we've all done at least one puzzle in our life. Imagine you get a 1,000-piece puzzle in front of you, dumped out in front of you. Well, what do most people do? They put the box in front of them as they put the puzzle together. This case to me has felt like someone has dumped out 1,000 puzzle pieces and they took the box. And I have no clue what the picture is, but we're still trying to piece that puzzle together without the box. That's kind of the best way I've been able to kind of describe how, I guess, difficult and frustrating this case has been.
And like others have said, even if a tip comes in and it's just that one piece of the puzzle, that can make the difference. Can you talk about just similar cases and how sometimes that one piece of information?
Well, one thing that we do as investigators when we interview witnesses on scenes, a lot of things that we always follow up with, hey, is there something that I didn't ask you that you would like to tell me, like you're hoping you would ask me about this so you can talk about it? Because sometimes witnesses would think, well, if they don't ask me, I'm not going to say anything about it. So I would always give them the chance, hey, it's open mic, go ahead and say whatever you want. And a lot of times there's been times where people have told us something, and that all of a sudden it ended up being a very vital piece of information and evidence in that case that led to us finding out who did it and solving the case. So that's why, again, we are reaching out because somebody might know something, but they think it might be minute, and it's like they've never called because they think, no, it's nothing. But you never know. So again, we will take every tip we can and look at it to the furthest degree that we can to help try to solve this case and again bring justice for Liz. Yes, sir.
And just to add a little bit to what Sergeant Richie just added, that's why the details here are so important, what we are releasing, because it was early in that morning. It was just shy of 7 a.m., and there's people already outside. They're getting ready for work. They're getting ready to, they're out walking dogs, maybe a light walk. And so maybe they didn't see the crime itself, but perhaps they saw that truck leaving the neighborhood, or they saw it circling around either before or after, because I believe it drove around a second time. And so sometimes just that piece of information, say, I remember that day I was walking and I saw something I never got a chance to call, or they assume that we had that information, and this is just one more reminder. And we want it to be top of mind for everyone, and that's why our media partners' assistance is so critical. La ayuda del público es sumamente importante. Tal vez escuchando algunos de los detalles ayuda al público a recordar esos momentos. Tal vez estaban caminando un mascota o iban en una caminando, y tal vez pueden recordar que vieron esa troca o vieron algo más sospechoso en esa comunidad esa mañana, y es lo que esperamos.
¿Qué tan difícil ha sido la investigación y cuánto se ha logrado avanzar durante estos 5 años?
Ha sido muy, obviamente, una investigación que este investigador y sus compañeros han llevado ya por 5 años. Ves por la presencia hoy que sigue muy presente en nuestras mentes, y entonces es algo, en esos casos hay mucha frustración porque quieres resolverlo hace 5 años y quieres traerle a la familia un poco de alivio, aunque nunca realmente lo van a tener. Entonces, quieres hacer todo lo posible y estar seguro que nada se ha perdido. La cosa positiva es que hemos recibido muchas llamadas y le recordamos al público que la pueden hacer de una manera anónima, donde no se tienen que declarar su nombre. Entonces pueden dar la información y nunca vamos a saber quién lo dio, y ojalá que esa pista nos ayude a resolver este caso. Anything else?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody being here. And again, thanks for helping us get this word out there, and hopefully this is going to be our year. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all.